This is the last little bit of footage I have of Double XP Weekend, although the Double XP is turned off in this clip because I was in Demonheim hunting a frost dragon, and the exciting thing is I found one. This means I can complete the medium Demonheim achievement set, which requires you to sacrifice a frost dragon's bones on an altar. Fortunately, I also have a high enough construction level at this point so I can craft an altar because there was no altar in this dungeon. I'd be lying if I didn't say I was scared the entire time the bones were in my inventory because I was worried about burying them by accident. So bones are automatically buried while we're in Demonheim, and we get ammo returned to us like Ava's backpacks. But that's not the interesting reward. That's not the reward I was excited about. The secondary roll on our ring is increased 50%, whatever. A new bind slot for potions, that's useful. And we have an extended portion of one of the resource dungeons, whatever, who cares. The smuggler will provide 40 law and cosmic runes in every dungeon. This means we don't have to craft any runes to use the gate stones, making the dungeons even faster. We claim our reward from Marmaros, one of the token vendors. And while we do that, I'm going to say I would appreciate it if you guys are enjoying the series, if you would be so gracious as to subscribe. It does technically help with the YouTube algorithm, but it also helps with my algorithm, which is motivation. Seeing growth on the channel is certainly a big motivator. Were I an Iron Man, I would have used the XP reward on Herblore, but since I'm not an Iron Man, I use it on runecrafting, since runecrafting sucks. We begin by doing Tale of Two Cats, because shockingly it is a prerequisite for quite a few quests, quite a few significant quests that have to do with the Dragonkin. Also, who doesn't like cats? So while we do the quest, let's take a look at our stats. Having 70 defense and 70 prayer means we can use Rigor, Augury, and Piety. Our agility is at 78, so we're getting pretty close to 80. Slayer's in quite a comfortable position at 76. And most notably, Magic is at 81, which means we now have all the stats to complete One of a Kind. A Tale of Two Cats is a prerequisite for One of a Kind. That's why we're doing it. Most importantly, we get a doctor's hat and a cat toy. This was quite the dramatic quest when it first came out. Not only was it the first quest that added Guthix into the game, but it was also the first quest that killed Guthix. This fight against Kriar was so easy. I mean, he's a bird. What's he gonna do? Kill me? Hey, Death. Jokes aside, when you actually follow the mechanics, it's a pretty easy fight. I brought the Abyssal Wand and Orb instead of the Crystal Staff because the Abyssal Wand and Orb gives just a slightly higher accuracy bonus. And that was, as usual, where the issue was. Low accuracy. Similar trouble with Grador. Low accuracy, but it was just a battle of attrition. And we killed him before he killed us. Can you guess what happened against Zemorigal? Yeah. We fought him until he died. Accuracy was an issue. Same story, different demon. Would have been nice if Crow were weak to fire spells like he is in the God Wars dungeon, but he's not. Of all the fights, he was kind of a pushover. Although I will say, it's kind of scary when he runs at you like this. It's a bit intimidating. Now, the fight against Anakra was super annoying because the gimmick here is that she'll heal unless you break the line of sight with her, so you have to run behind a pillar. The problem was, multiple times I'd run behind the pillar, and nothing would happen. My character would just run behind the pillar and then run back around and attack her, and she'd keep healing. It was very annoying. And needless to say, accuracy was an issue, so she'd heal up a bunch of health, and then it'd take me forever to get rid of the health. She sucks. Enemies that heal suck. Now look at this garbage. She's got 800 health, right? Okay, 500 health. Let's keep hitting her. Okay, doing no damage. Alright. Okay, we're missing. Missing. Oh, now she's healing. How fun. Oh, it'd be nice if my character would move. Okay. She's at 1500 health. No damage. Oh, finally. Takes like 30 seconds just to get rid of the last little bit of health. Accuracy is literally just rolling the dice. It's not fun. This last part of the quest isn't even hard. You just have to fight off a horde of spiritual warriors, rangers, and mages. You basically just spend 2 minutes as they pile out of portals attacking the barricade, but it's very unlikely they'll actually destroy the barricade. It's mostly just tedious. Oh my god, this cutscene is... that face, oh my god. You know, there was a time where the only representation of Guthix was through the post bag from the hedge from maybe 10 or 15 years ago. He was a skull covered in hair. I think that's what he was. Definitely different. Remember everyone to forget him, don't use his memories to gain divination XP. Yeah, Saradomin shows up too. We got a lot of XP lamps from this quest, some we can claim, some we can't. For instance, we need 80 prayer to get the prayer XP, but after we get 80 we can come back and claim the lamp again. We don't have to carry the lamp around in our inventory until we get 80 prayer, that would suck. So here's us claiming all the lamps. We got the Slayer XP, 110,000 Slayer XP. We use one of the lamps to claim 100,000. What are we going to pick? Oh, I don't even remember. What are we picking? Come on, hurry up. Pick something. Pick something, damn it. Okay, I'm thinking. Is it going to be agility? Is it going to be summoning? It's going to be herblore. Okay, that was... Wait. Yeah, that was a twist. Next one, I think, oh, we'll get herblore again, but it has to be on 3 different skills. So we pick agility for the second one, and then for the third, summoning. Not much of a surprise. And I used all 3 combat lamps, which give 50,000 XP each in ranged. World Wakes and A Tale of Two Cats was a requirement for one of a kind. Now, the useful thing about one of a kind is, 1, it unlocks the ability to kill celestial dragons. But also, it gives us the Dragon Rider amulet, which has some good stats. The amulet increases our Dragon Breath ability, but we mostly want it because it gives plus 30 to each combat style, and it also doubles the amount of prayer XP you get from burying dragon bones, which is kind of neat. So you get 144 XP instead of 72. It was time to stop doing some quests and to start using our double XP again, so I opted to get 80 construction through construction contracts. At the end of a construction contract, you get some token XP, about 18,000 if you're using mahogany planks or protean planks above level 70. And that gets doubled with double XP. So we got 76, then we got 77, not long after. We got 78 next to Bob's Axe Shop. That racist goblin hater. 79 in the Varrock General Store. And coincidentally, 80 in the Varrock General Store. Let's clap. That was clapping. With 80 construction, we can construct the new diving apparatus in our aquarium, which means we can collect different items from the decorations we put down there, such as an elite clue scroll. And also we can collect planks from the mermaid's purses. And if you're an Iron Man, you should collect gems from these seashells, these oysters rather, because there is a slight chance you might get an onyx. Of course, you can get a guaranteed onyx from the fight kiln, but some people might not be confident enough to do the fight kiln on an Iron Man when they want to get an onyx. I'm training a little bit of hunter here in the wilderness, catching black salamanders. I don't need much XP, but I want to get 72, because at 72 we can hunt charm sprites and try to get ourselves a Yaktui stick. Didn't really take that long, and we can disassemble these black salamanders for some components, some easy components. We could also augment them and level them up to level 40 for invention XP. Hunting charm sprites is kind of awful, but the Yaktui stick does give you a 2% boost to hunter XP. It used to be 5%, but then they nerfed a lot of hunter XP because, well, tinfoil hat time. They did it because people weren't using bonus XP on hunter because it was so quick. They can't have that. They gotta sell keys. So they gotta nerf hunter XP. We got 400 sprites and we got 73 hunter. I think that's a good point to end with the hunter for now. 73 hunter means we have all the levels we need to do the quest Crocodile Tears, which is one of the Menaphos quests. We'll get around to that some point in the future, but we're not going to do it right now because it requires Do No Evil as a prerequisite, and we're not going to do that one quite yet. So we got a crystal staff up to level 10. It is time to disassemble it for some invention XP. Let's see what we get. Of course, we get 459,000 invention XP. We don't get any special components, but we do get 49 invention. I was on my way to kill some Calphites, and this was an interesting glitch I saw. I guess the line of code got a little lost on the way. The Ectofuntus doesn't give double XP during double XP weekend, but I realized I never got the final piece of the bonus XP prayer outfit, the first age outfit. I had a few hundred buckets of slime in my bank, so I bought some Infernal Ashes and sacrificed them to the Ectofuntus, which means we get enough Ecto tokens to buy the last piece. With the full outfit, you can claim 3 dragon bones a day, which is basically useless. But there's also a slight chance when burying bones you will save the bone. I believe it is a 3% chance, or maybe a 2% chance. Regardless, it is a way to save bones and to save a little bit of money, and we get extra XP. So it's definitely something worth getting, especially since it's so easy to get slime and ashes, especially if you're not an Iron Man. I got a water fiend task, so I figured it would be the perfect time to test how many charms we can get using charming potions, and to level up an augmented black salamander. Black salamanders are great because you can augment them, they're very cheap, and they're a decent weapon. They're a tier 70 weapon. And since they technically use bolts, they are effective against water fiends. During this task, we got 75 ranged. 75 ranged is a requirement for Within the Light and for Plague's End. We're all that much closer to unlocking Prifddinas. So here are the charms I got from this water fiend task. Turns out they don't drop that many blue charms, but man, those crimsons. Use charming potions. They're very good. So I was boosting some Slayer points, and we finally have over 400, which means we can buy the ability to craft a Slayer helm. For those unaware, boosting Slayer points is simple. You basically get 9 tasks from a low-level master, and then for the 10th task, you go to the highest level master you can use so you can get the most points possible. So we're going to make a bunch of granite lobsters with all of these crimson charms we collected. It's best not to waste the double XP while we have it, and summoning is a very good skill to train during double XP weekend. Oh man, it's expensive, but we got 79, which means we can now make titans. I was planning on making adamant minotaurs, but it turns out most of the cost comes from the secondary, and earth talismans are very cheap, especially compared to adamant bars. With these earth talismans, we shall make moss titans. It was unnecessarily suspenseful, but now you know. Moss titans. That's what we're making. So now we have 80 summoning, and I think that's a pretty good spot to stop. We can make hydras. When one dies, another takes its place. This is our first task of jungle strikeworms. I had to kill hundreds of these things on my Iron Man for me to get a focus sight, or was it a hex crest? Whichever one these guys drop. Needless to say, it was very annoying because you can only kill these guys on task, which means you need to get a task for jungle strikeworms or desert strikeworms before you can kill them to try to get a hex crest or a focus sight. And that means you have to do a ton of Slayer to make sure you have enough points so you can cancel tasks to get these tasks. It is not fun on an Iron Man. It's a bit tedious, actually. A recommendation: if you do get these tasks as an Iron Man and you're hunting for the hex crest or focus sight, use the bracelet that has a chance of extending the length of your task. I think it's called the Bracelet of Slaughter. It is a red topaz bracelet, if I remember correctly. Basically, it has a chance for a Slayer kill to not tick down the total number of monsters you have to kill for your task. So if you have to kill 100, and you kill one, and then the bracelet procs, then you still have to kill 100. The opposite of that bracelet is the Headhunter's Sacrifice. I think it's a jade bracelet. It has a chance of making 1 kill on your Slayer task count as 2. Now, it is very useful when you're boosting for Slayer points so you can get the low-level tasks done more quickly. During this task, we got 70 strength. Another Water Fiend task, and I accidentally recorded the whole thing. So I have 2 hours worth of footage, and half of it I'm logged out and I'm just in the lobby. I'm not going to show it. It was an accident. Moving on to new things. So unfortunately, this altar does not give you bonus XP during bonus XP weekend. But I want to get 72 prayer. It won't take very many bones to get 72, since I'm nearly there anyway. But the reason why I want to get 72 is because 2 prayer levels will get me to level 110 combat. What's so special about 110 combat? Well, you see, Kuradel does not assign tasks until you have 75 Slayer and 110 combat. And I would like to get tasks from Kuradel since she gives more points. And there's 110. We will eventually have to get 75 prayer anyway, so we can do Plague's End and finally get access to Prifddinas. First task from Kuradel isn't too exciting. It is Terror Dogs. It's an easy task, though. Just teleport straight to them and kill them. After completing the Terror Dog task, I got a task that required me to fight things that breathed fire. I thought it would be good to have super anti-fires, but I don't have the level to make super anti-fires. Turns out, pulse cores can boost your level by +7. I have 78 herb lore. You can make super anti-fires if you boost to 85. So I pickpocketed some phoenix feathers, I didn't die to the desert heat, and I made myself some super anti-fires. Unfortunately, I ended up not doing the task anyway because I didn't really want to do it. But I have super anti-fires now. Those will sit in my bank probably until we get 85 herb lore, and it won't matter that we boosted to get them anyway. Boosting for more Slayer points, I got a cave crawler task. So we killed the monstrous cave crawler in the Smoky Well dungeon in Polder Niche. And while we were there, we got 80 Slayer, which means we can kill Necriel, which isn't that great. But it is one requirement for the Light Within. But we need to do Plague's End first before we can do that. This here is what you would call character progression. This is my arc. Remember when we had to fight these guys one at a time, when we were safe spotting them, when we were hiding behind rocks and trees? Well, not anymore. Look at our growth. Look how far we've come. They didn't drop anything interesting at all. Now this was a task I was excited for. Firewatch. Even though our blisterwood weapons aren't fully upgraded, they still do a very good amount of damage. Especially since we can pray piety while we kill them, and there's an altar right near here. Of course, a faster method would be to use prayer potions and sit in the middle of Darkmire. But that's mostly a method for people who have access to Soul Split. We do not have that. We do not have 92 prayer. We don't even have curses unlocked. So I wouldn't worry about that right now. This here is the optimal setup for me. You find a world where there are 2 Firewatch just outside the altar. And usually by the time you finish killing one, the other one will respawn. So you are perpetually in combat, especially since they're aggressive. You can kind of AFK. You just got to be careful that you don't get killed. You also want to make sure you loot everything, since the loot isn't that bad. And we definitely want to loot all their corpses, because we're going to want to sacrifice 500 of them, so we can have the strongest blisterwood weaponry we can possibly have, and because there's also a task requirement that we upgraded by at least 200, so might as well do 500, right? I had to do so many takes just trying to say blisterwood weaponry. It is a tongue twister for me, and I don't know why. Blisterwood weaponry. Blisterwood weaponry. Blisterwood weaponry. Blisterwood weaponry. The Sun Spear. We don't have it yet, but I'm just going to call it the Sun Spear. During a Hellhound task, which was a very easy task because we could just use a halberd in Kurdo's dungeon, we got 81 Slayer, which means we can now kill Ascension creatures. Not a lot of time left on double XP, but I wanted to get some melee levels, so I came to Shadow Reef and got ourselves 75 attack. That also got this halberd to level 10, so we're going to disassemble that and get ourselves another nice chunk of invention XP. No special components with that, but we got 53 invention now. Back to Shadow Reef, but with a black salamander, and we're going to kill Hunto. It was basically a waste of time. But we killed him, and we got some XP and 5,000 dungeoneering tokens. It's time to disassemble that black salamander. And from that we get 4 stunning components, and we get to level 55 invention. I ended double XP weekend by doing some construction contracts. We have no time left. What a shame. Well, that's that. Thank you for watching. Take care.